Hello and welcome to Turning Point Tactics, the competitive Kill Team 40k podcast and YouTube channel focused on giving you the strategies and tactics to seize initiative every turning point. I'm your host Ryan, and I'm here to give you the tips and tricks to elevate every part of your Kill Team experience. If you enjoy this content and you want more, you can join our Patreon for as little as £3 a month, where you'll get access to our Discord, Patreon priority questions, early access to videos including Kill Team bat reps, faction guides and much more. If that's not for you, you can support just by hitting like, subscribe and sharing these videos amongst the community of Kill Team enthusiasts local to you. Finally, if you're looking to buy some new miniatures or paints, you can buy them through Element Games, getting a 15% discount, and if you use our affiliate link below, you'll support the show as well. With all that said, let's get into it. Okay, into A tier then. There's a lot going on here. Let's start with Pathfinders. So, please remember, I'm talking about this team being played by the best players at the top of the game, right? So I'm not talking about a casual club night against someone who's just picked up Pathfinders for the first time, because they are an immensely complicated team, okay? And you need so many synergies and stacks to work, etc., and they have such a huge, deep toolbox. But if you can get all those points together and work them together, then they are a team that is equipped with 4/5 damage across the board, loads of methods of reliability, loads of accuracy, 5/6 damage weapons where you need it, lethal weapons where you need it. They've got access to grenades, they've got access to relentless. They can dig you out of cover. This team is a good team, and they have some really good abilities to be able to shut down a lot of problem teams where they need to. So do not sleep on Pathfinders. They don't get access to a lot of their synergies into the dark, which is why I think people are watching them perform poorly. And if you're taking them to a mixed tournament, you probably don't want to take that risk, right? So that's why people aren't taking them. But on open board, this team is so strong. So they're just unbelievably difficult to use. So if you're doing a long tournament, the mental drain is massive, right? Because you have to be using all these synergies all the time to make the most out of the team, and that can be really rough. Okay, next, Vet Guard. They're just a good team, right? We all know this. No changes here. They have a good toolbox, lots of bodies. Their only weakness is the fact that they are security. And if they were anything else, they would be probably insanely if they'd seek and destroy, they'd be so good. So I'm happy with them not having anything else. One tweak I would like to see is if the spotter couldn't chain activate, that would be nice, right? So if the spotter had to spend an activation to then activate the next guy, so you couldn't just do the immediate turn 1 alpha strike against someone in heavy cover, or the sniper shot against someone in heavy cover, etc. I think that would be a better thing for the game, because everyone else, when they do that, they have to telegraph that they're going to do it, and Vet Guard don't, and it's across the map, and I just find that's just so strong, particularly when you have the fact that the demo mine as well is there, and that can blow through walls, etc. So, that's just a tweak that I think they just would make him just slightly better, and probably wouldn't affect the power level that much. Or you make it so the spotter only works versus light cover, but so many other things in the game now ignore heavy as well. I just think that's probably the way to do it. Breaches next up. I really like Breaches, and I can't really understand why Intercession got nerfed, but Pathfinders, Vet Guard, and Breaches haven't been nerfed, because this team is it's legit, right? It's got loads of wounds, loads of durability. It's got access to great tac ops. It's got access to loads of reliability employees. What's not to love about this team? And when you see it played at high level, this team is really, really strong. So yeah, if you're playing. Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, so I didn't really understand why this team hasn't been touched, and so much of the other things that have happened around the game. So the nerf to how much the minimum damage in the game, where it's gone down to 3/3 for a team that's entirely 3/3 damage basically across the board. That is so good. Even their melee is 3/4. It's every part of this team loves the changes to the damage mitigation. and I just don't really understand why they get to stay where they are whilst other teams drop, and that's fine. But like, they're a great team, right? They have access to a whole bunch of strong stuff, and I can see them doing really well at tournaments. Just note the caveat of there are some particularly tough matchups ahead of them. Okay, so sneaking into A tier now, I say that like sneaking in, but like they've probably always been here. Hunter Clade, I think this team has potentially some of the tricks that's needed to deal with some of the problem children, right? So like the infiltrators being able to shut off rerolls across a huge area is so useful against some of these melee teams, and combine that with the fact that you need crits as well. Having 5 power weapons on your front line with bodies that are 10 wounds apiece is really useful, because you can 2-hit kill a beastman and they can't 2-hit kill you back generically, which is really useful. So that's pretty cool. You can mess with their reliability. You can buff your own reliability with balance for a turn. You can do some shenanigans by like healing yourself to be able to then like get a good melee fight in again afterwards. And you've also got a good backline for gunners. If you're running into elites, you have loads of access to strong shooting. Plus, you have the Rustalk assassins with the rending blades on 4/6. So like you have ways to kill people effectively, and you can play the mission really well by doing forward deploys, early loots, servo skull for free mission actions, free pickups, etc., etc. And you have access to great tac ops. So they score well, they perform well, I think they do well into the current meta. You know, I think this is a strong pick. Next up is going to be Commandos, and these guys are like, I kind of want to say that they're here because of what's going on around them. It's probably like the way I see it. So Commandos have the ability to obviously alpha strike quite well. And I think they're going to be the team that people see the most success into with cults, outside of cult, Beastmen, and Inquisition, and maybe RBTs. I'm sort of playing around with that. Because you can potentially get off, you know, a stick bomb turn 1, you can get off a dynamite turn 1, and you can like really soften up a lot of the enemies. And the fact that they're 4 or 5 damage each means that if your opponent messes up in their melee and then they don't roll what they need to roll, then you can kill them, right? And they need to inflict damage to mutate. So just a scratch means that if they try and punch you, you could potentially just a scratch it and then kill them. Or if they try and parry you out, you can parry them out and then kill them. It's like them not being able to mutate is huge, and they're really good at being able to shut that off. Also, you can like forward deploy your sniper to potentially assassinate the leader or the icon, and with the minimum damage, you don't really care because it's 2/2 anyway. So you can get a good early kill on that. You can forward deploy a rocket boy potentially to try and get a shot off if you need to, or the slasher boy. Like, there's so many ways for you to be able to try and focus on killing the right models right at the start of the game and just set the tone where you need it to be. And I think that's why they're going to perform well into those matchups. And they're fine into like other teams as well. You know, with 11 activations, they can really hang it with squads like Inquisition, etc. So that works well for them. So I think they're in a good place. You know, and I think they're going to do well into this meta. And I'll be interested to see how they perform based on you know what's going on around them. Next up, I'm going to go with Illisidian Starstriders. So these guys, I might be overrating them slightly. Maybe they deserve to be a little bit further back. But again, I'm just there looking at it from a how do you try and beat these other teams, and these guys having access to some quite significant blast in the right places means you might be able to weaken people to the point in which they can't survive melee, and then they can also bully objectives quite well. So a combination of those factors means I think they're really good, and they have the tools now, and I think they're in a good place. So I think they're a strong pick. And I'm pretty happy with them being top of A tier. I can see arguments for them being behind Commandos and Hunter Clade. In fact, to be honest, most of A tier you could rearrange based on the map and what your matchup is. But I think they've got good answers to a lot of the problem sets that's out there. I just don't know how reliable they are when it comes to killing your Colts and your Beastmen. I like the fact that you have multiple access to power weapons. I like the fact that you can, reduce damage on objectives, so you maybe don't get killed by frenzy people. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at. That brings us to the end of the episode. Hopefully you found something new or useful while listening, and if you did, throwing us a like would be greatly appreciated. If you want to make sure you don't miss any episodes, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the bell so you get notifications as soon as the next one drops. It really is the best way to help a small channel like ours. And if you can't wait and you do want early access, we have a Patreon where you can get exclusive access to all our content ahead of time. As always, we'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. So drop a comment below and we'll get right to you. Thank you so much for listening. I'm your host Ryan, this has been Turning Point Tactics, and we'll see you next week.